In this video, we will work on a few examples of applications that involve factoring. So this one is asking us to find the area of a rectangle, which we know the area of a rectangle is length times width. The only difference is instead of there being numbers, we have expressions. So we're just going to take the expressions and multiply them as the length and the width. So here we end up with 2x squared minus 3x. In this next problem, it's also about area, but this time they gave us the area. And we're looking for the length and the width. So essentially we're looking for the factors. So we're going to take the trinomial and do what we normally do when we factor trinomials where the leading coefficient is not 1. So we're going to go 2 times 2, which we know is 4. The only factors of 4 are 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. Since the last term is a positive, I want something that's going to add to give me 5, which in this case are the 1 and the 4. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite the problem with our 4 terms. And both of the middle numbers will both be positive to give me a positive 5. Now I'm going to find the GCF 3 times. On the left, I have 2x. So I'm left with x plus 2. On the right side, it's already x plus 2, so you kind of just want to take out a positive 1 because that will not change or mess anything up. So my final answer is x plus 2 and 2x plus 1. So that means the length is probably x plus 2 and the width is the other one. Honestly, it doesn't matter which one is which, but one of each. This problem is about falling objects. So quadratics, if I was to graph them, in general, they make this shape here. So for a falling object, it kind of is this. It goes up and then it comes down. A person diving off of a 48-foot cliff into a river at 32 feet per second is this function right here, where the h represents the height of the diver and the t represents the seconds, like how long was he in the air, things like that. So this says, when will the diver hit the water? Well, if I'm diving off of a cliff and I dive off and I hit the water, essentially my height is now what? 0. So that means we're solving a quadratic equation by factoring, and the height is going to be equal to 0. I see that this is a trinomial, but I also see that it leads off with a negative, and it most definitely has a GCF of 16. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor out the negative 16 so I can see what's left. So I can see here, after I take out the negative 16, I have a trinomial where the leading coefficient is 1. So the factors of 3, I know I'm just prepping my answer space. I know it's going to be t and t. I know it's going to be 1 plus and 1 minus because the 3 is negative. And the only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. Since the middle term is negative, I'm going to make the biggest number negative as well. So here's my answer. But again, since we're solving, we need to go ahead and factor this. So let me make some space here. We're going to go ahead and factor. We already factored. We're going to go ahead and solve these. And that's going to be the negative 16 equals 0. That's like not a true statement. So we kind of eliminate that. But t plus 1 equals 0 and t minus 3 equals 0. If I solve them both, I get t equals negative 1 and t equals positive 3. Normally, I would take into consideration both of these, but time cannot be negative. He did not jump for negative 2 seconds or anything like that. So the answer must be 3. When will the diver hit the water? He will hit the water after 3 seconds. I think we have one more example here. Yes, so this one is the equation of a ball kicked from the ground in the air at a speed of 96 feet per second. And again, they're giving us the function. So I want you to think, if I'm a person and I'm kicking the ball is going to go up and then the ball is going to come down. Correct? So this is the shape of a quadratic, which is why the function is a quadratic as well. So if I'm hitting the ground, again, just like the diver hitting the water, the height is going to be 0. So same thing, I'm going to set up my quadratic equation equal to 0 and then continue to solve. I can see here that the GCF is negative 16 again. So I'm going to be left with t squared minus 6t equals 0. Oh, so what I noticed here, let me erase that. Okay, not only do they have negative 16 in common, but they also have a t. So let me back up. 16t. So here I'm left with t minus 6 equals 0. Okay, that's better. So here, there's no more factoring, but I'm going to take both of these and set them equal to 0. So we have negative 16t equals 0. To get t by itself, I would have to divide by negative 16, which is just going to give me t equals 0. So there's that. And then t minus 6 equals 0. Same thing. I need to add 6. So t equals 6. Now t is not negative here, but 0 is also not my answer, because right here when I first kick the ball, that's when t is 0. After it goes up and comes back down, that's when t is 6. So it makes sense that both answers popped up, but the first one just isn't relevant for this problem and what we're trying to answer.